Are you brand new to HighLevel and struggling to set up calendars inside of your business or your clients' businesses? Or have you been using HighLevel for a while, but you're confused by all the new calendar types and groups and features that have been added to the calendars tab recently? Well, whether you're a complete beginner or a seasoned pro, stay tuned, because in this video, we're gonna cover absolutely everything you could possibly want to know about calendars inside of HighLevel. By the end of this video, you'll know how to create any type of calendar for any type of business, how to embed those calendars onto websites, how to automate appointment reminders, and so much more. So with that, let's jump right into today's material. So now that we're inside of HighLevel, the first thing that we want to do before actually creating a new calendar is we want to add employees to our sub account so that we've got users that can be assigned to specific calendars, and as leads book appointments on those calendars, they can select which user they want to book an appointment with if you have multiple people on your team. So to do this, you want to make sure you're in your sub account, and then we're going to go into our settings and you're going to click My Staff. And inside of My Staff, you can see that I've got me here and then Jake, and we're going to add an employee, and we're just going to name this employee Sarah Lewis. And you would just create an email address using Sarah's email, but because this is just a demo, I'm gonna do demo2@gmail.com, and you would just go through and fill out the rest of this information. So if this is a real person, then you could go to advanced settings and create a password for this user. And then you can see here that we've got calendar, so you can select which calendar you want to be their main calendar. And we're just gonna do demo calendar, and we're gonna go through and actually create a new calendar. So I would come back in here and select a different calendar. But if you've already created a calendar and this is the correct calendar, then you just select which calendar you want to be their main calendar. And then for signature, you could create an email signature. And then for user permissions, you can give this user access to whatever features of this software that you want them to have access to. So I'm just gonna leave this as it is for now. And then user roles, I'm gonna make this a user as opposed to an admin. And call and voicemail settings, I'm gonna just skip over that. User availability, this is where you actually select the availability that this user has. And this is incredibly important because this user availability that you set up right here is gonna override any calendar availability that you set when we create the calendars. So for example, if on Monday, you've got this user is available from, let's just say, 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. So if on the calendar that we create, the availability is from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and those are all the slots that are available on the calendar, but this user availability is only from 8 to 8, then the first hour and the last hour from 7 to 8 and then from 8 to 9 are going to be blocked off for this user. So if someone tries to book an appointment on that calendar, even if those time slots are available on the calendar, if this user doesn't have their availability during those hours, then the person booking the appointment won't have those options available, because the hours that you set up here for user availability override the hours that you set up in the calendar. And if you wanted to, you could even have different time slots. So let's just say that this user was only available from 8 a.m. until, let's say, 10 a.m. And then they had a lunch break or something, and then they were available again from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Then you could set it up that way. So 2 p.m. so that they're available from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that's how you add chunks of time and break it up throughout the day. And then if you wanted to have that copied to every single one of the days in the week, then you would just click copy to all. And if they're also available on Sunday and Saturday, then you can add those there. So this is where you set up all the user availability hours. And again, those will override any availability that you set up within the calendar. So make sure to dial this in and get this right for each user, because it is important when people are booking appointments on the calendar. So then user calendar configuration, this is where you could link any third-party calendars that you have. And we haven't linked any of those just yet for this user, but I'll show you how to do that a little bit later in this video. So we're just going to create this user. And now we've got Bryce, Jake, and Sarah created. And now we're going to go about creating a new calendar, and I'll show you why it's important to have all of these different staff members inside of your account. So to do this, we're just going to go back and we're going to head to calendars. and then we're going to go into calendar settings. And you can see that I already have a variety of calendars set up inside of my account, and we've got calendars, preferences, availability, connections, calendars, groups, service menu, rooms, equipments, and we're going to go through what all of this means and how to set up each of these different features. But to start out, we're just going to create a new calendar, and we've got all of these different types of calendars. So we've got a service calendar, which is for service-based businesses such as electricians or plumbers or hair salons or any service-based business. You're going to create a calendar using this service calendar. And then we've also got these simple calendars, and this is what I use for my one-on-one Zoom calls with clients. And it's just a simple calendar. Someone books an appointment, as it shows here. It can be used for physical events or meetings or one-on-one Zoom calls, but it's just a simple calendar. Then we've also got a round robin calendar, and this is where if you use this type of calendar and you assign multiple people to this calendar, then it's going to book in order of the people that you have assigned to that calendar. So if I've got myself and Jake and Sarah all assigned to a round robin calendar, then when a client books an appointment on it, it's going to assign it to me, then it's going to assign it to Jake, and it's going to assign it to Sarah, and then the next appointment is going to be assigned to me, and it's just going to keep assigning the appointments to the people who are assigned to that calendar in the order of the appointments. But if there's ever a gap in the user availability doesn't line up with that open time slot, then it would go to the next person assigned to that calendar. But that's how the round robin calendars work. And then this class booking calendar could be used for like webinars or yoga studios where there's a limit to the amount of people that you want to have on that call. So let's just say for a yoga studio, you want to limit the amount of people in that class to 20 people. Then you could select this type of calendar, and I'll show you how to do this a little bit later, but you can just set the maximum amount of people that you want to be able to book on that calendar. And then once it reaches that maximum threshold that you set, then it's not going to allow anyone else to book a time slot on that calendar for that time slot. Then we've also got collective booking, which is where it's more of multiple people on your team are showing up and it's one person who booked the appointment. So this could be used for like sales calls if you want to have the person actually doing the sales call, the salesperson, as well as maybe someone training the salesperson and then someone else on your team just watching in. You can have multiple people from your team on that call, or you could use this for interviews. So if you've got multiple people on your team, such as HR and sales and finance, who all need to hop on a call with the one person that you're interviewing, then you would just use this collective booking calendar. So those are the differences between each of these types of calendars. But for this video, I'm just going to go ahead and set up a service calendar. So the first thing that you would do is name the service name. And I'm just going to set this up as if I'm setting it up for a hair salon because it's going to be the easiest to follow along with. So for this, I'm just going to do men's haircut. And so the men's haircut is the actual service that we're offering for this. So if someone books an appointment on this calendar, then the hair salon would know that this person signed up for a men's haircut. And then we've also got select staff member. So we can choose Bryce and Jake and Sarah are all assigned to this calendar because all of those staff members are capable of doing a men's haircut. And then for custom URL, this is what's known as a slug, and you just input a unique identifier for this calendar. So for this, we'll see if men's haircut is already taken because this is going to pretty much compete with all the different calendars that are available within HighLevel. So someone's already used men's haircut. So you need to create a unique identifier for this exact haircut. So what we're going to do is we're going to name this Pass-Go Men's Haircut. And it's just going to be Pass-Go because my agency is called Pass-Go Systems. So Pass-Go Men's Haircut. And service duration, we're going to go ahead and leave it at 30 minutes, but you can see that you can select 15, 30, 45, all the way up to 360 minutes for an appointment. So we're just going to leave this at 30 minutes. And booking availability, this is where you set up the availability for this calendar. But again, the user availability that you set up when you created the staff members inside of your account is going to override this booking availability. So make sure that those line up. And if you run into any issues, check the user availability to make sure that that's set up correctly. So for this, we're going to leave it Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is a good time. And if you want to accept payments directly from the calendar, then you can just turn this on. And we're going to say that this is a $25 haircut. And for description, men's haircut. And you can add more description to this if you want, but we're just going to leave it short and sweet and describe it as a men's haircut. And we're going to click confirm. And so now we've set up this men's haircut service-based calendar. And I'm just going to exit out of here. And so we've got this men's haircut calendar. Duration is 30 minutes. And if we wanted to, we could click on these 3 dots and edit this calendar. And now it's going to give us even more details that we can edit within this calendar. So men's haircut, again, for description, men's haircut, shortcut, and group. We haven't created any calendar groups just yet, but these are going to come into play here in a little bit, because we're going to add multiple different haircuts to this single group so that we can just provide this group on our website and people can select from which haircut they want. So that'll all make sense here in just a minute, but we're going to leave this group as blank for now. And then we created the custom URL, appointment invite title. It can just be contact name, men's haircut, and then select a team member. And we've got all of our team members listed here. And then event color, this is just going to be how it shows up in your actual calendar tab inside of HighLevel when someone books an appointment. So you can easily look at your calendar and see exactly what type of haircut someone has scheduled by just looking at the color. So if we made this red, then it's going to show up as red inside of our calendar. And if we go to availability, this is where we set our availability. And you have a few more features here. So we've got service duration is 30 minutes, buffer time. So if you want any buffer after the appointment to decompress, sweep up the floor of all the hair, then you can add a buffer of, let's just say 15 minutes. But if you don't want to add that buffer, then you can just leave it as 0. And then minimum scheduling notice. This is going to be in days. You can also select hours, weeks, or months. But if you need at least 24 hours before they schedule an appointment, then you just set that minimum scheduling notice here. But for a haircut, there's a lot of time people just walk in. So we're going to go ahead and leave this as 0. And date range, this is how far out you want people to be able to book. So if you want people to book a week out, then you would do 7 days, or you could do 14 days for a week out, or you could just select weeks and do 2. So if you want them to be able to book 2 weeks out, but no further than that, then that's where you set that. But again, I'm just going to leave that blank, and I'm going to leave this blank as well, because I don't want a minimum scheduling notice, and I don't care if people schedule out a month in advance. So then forms and payments, we've got a default form that is automatically selected here. So this is going to collect first name, last name, email, phone, and any notes that someone wants to add. So I'll show you what this looks like on the calendar, but if you want to be able to customize this form and collect more information, then you can actually create a custom form inside of the Sites tab and Forms Builder, and then you can collect any custom field information that you want from that form. So for this haircut example, you could have someone input what they typically like to do for their haircut if they get the same haircut every time. Or if you're creating this calendar for a different business, such as a plumber, and you want to be able to ask what's happening and why they called the plumber in the first place, then you can ask that specific question instead of just having a space for notes. You can actually ask specific questions of what's going on, what does our technician need to know before they get out there, and then they've got a little bit of information before they actually reach the client. So you can use this default form, or you can create custom forms and then select from those forms that you create to ask more specific questions directly related to your business. But I'm going to leave it as default, and you can pre-populate the fields and use sticky contacts. So if someone fills in their information on this same browser and the cache is saved, then it's going to pre-populate their contact information, which makes it a little bit easier as they go through this form. You can have this checkbox that says, I confirm that I want to receive content from this company using the contact information I provide. So leave that checked on. And then for the confirmation page, this is just what's going to be shown to the customer when they book an appointment on this calendar. So you can either have them see this message of thank you for your appointment request, we'll contact you shortly, and you can customize this message to say whatever you want, or you can send them to a URL if you've got a web page created with more information, or if you're sending them down a funnel and want them to buy more, then you can send them to a custom URL, and then you just enter that URL right there. But I'm going to leave this as a thank you message. And if you've got a Facebook Pixel ID, then you can enter that Pixel ID right here, and you can auto confirm new appointments. And then payment, we already set this up. It's $25 for this, and it's automatically going to be added to the calendar so that when someone books an appointment on this calendar, it's going to ask for their payment information, let them know that it's going to be $25 for this haircut, and you can choose if you want to accept partial payment or not, and you can choose how much of a payment, whether it's an amount or a percentage, and I'm just going to leave this checked off because it's a haircut, so people are just going to pay for it when they book, and then you can choose if you want this to be live or in test mode so that you can make sure that everything's working properly, and then notifications and additional options. So right now we are selecting the type of notification, and we're sending an acknowledgement email when someone books an appointment on the calendar. Then they're going to get an acknowledgement email, and you can choose who receives this email. So you can choose contact, assigned staff, or additional emails. So if you choose contact, then whoever books the appointment on the calendar is going to receive an email to the email address that they provided when they fill out the information on the calendar form. Or if you have assigned staff, then it's going to be whoever they book an appointment with is going to receive a confirmation email. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this contact off because we're going to set up an automation later on in this video where we send them the initial appointment confirmation and then a few more follow-up messages. So to avoid sending them duplicate emails, I'm just going to leave this contact checked off, but I do want the assigned staff member to receive a confirmation email. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that on. And then if we click this additional emails, then we can enter the email address of who we want to alert when this appointment is booked. So if you've got a manager or someone who needs to be alerted every time an appointment is booked on this calendar, then you can enter that email address here. But I'm just going to go ahead and leave this checked off. And then you can allow Google or Outlook Calendar to send invitation and update emails to attendees. And you can assign contacts to their respective service staff members each time an appointment is booked. So if you check this first one on, then Google or Outlook, whatever third-party calendar system you're using, will also send invitations and email updates to the attendees when they book. So you'll get the initial email that we send out from HighLevel and also an email from Google or Outlook saying, hey, you've got an appointment. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that off and then assign contacts to the respective service staff members. So if someone comes back and you want them to just keep using the same staff member every time they book, then you can check that on. So if you check this on, if this contact is already assigned to a user in your system, then it's just going to keep having them book with that same user. So if you want them to be assigned to the same staff member every time they book an appointment, then you would turn that on. But if you don't, then you just leave that off. But you could also skip assigning contact if it's already assigned to a user in the system. But I'm just going to go ahead and leave that off. And then I'm going to leave these on, cancellation and reschedule appointment. So these are just the cancellation and rescheduling links. So if someone needs to cancel or reschedule, those are automatically going to be sent in the initial email that would be sent to them if you had this contact tab on. But we're just going to go ahead and put those in the initial email that we send them through the automation later on. So we don't really need to worry about that right now. And then here in customizations, we can add a service cover image to this appointment. And we've also got customized calendar widget. So we can customize the look and feel of the calendar, every place that we need it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and select an image for this so that you can see how this looks on the calendar when we set it up. So I'm just going to go into Google and do men's haircut and images. And then I'm going to download this image. And now that I've downloaded this image, I'm just going to go back into the system, click to upload. We're going to go into desktop and put this image that we just selected right here. So this is going to be the image that we see for a men's haircut. And then we can also change the primary color and the background color of this. If you want it to match your brand colors, then you can just come in here and change this up to match exactly what colors fit with your brand and your logo. And then you can customize the text, so schedule meeting or whatever you want it to say there. And then calendar title, calendar description. You can edit what information is shown. So if you don't want the calendar title to be shown, then it won't be shown, but I'm just going to leave all of this on here. And then rooms and equipments. We haven't set up any rooms or equipments yet, but I'll show you how to do that a little bit later on. But essentially rooms is like if you're a hotel or something and you've got these main rooms that people can rent out, or if you're a study area where you've got rooms that people can rent out and rent the space for a certain amount of time, then you can create the rooms and then attach them to the calendars so that it shows which rooms are still available. And then when someone books that room, then it can still be on that calendar, but it's no longer available during the time slot that it was booked. And the same with equipment. If you're running an equipment rental company and you want to have people rent the equipment for specific amounts of time, then you can just create the equipment and then add it to this calendar so that people can rent it for amounts of time, and it shows whether or not the equipment is rented out. So now that we've got this set up exactly how we want it, we're going to go ahead and click save. And so we've got this men's haircut calendar right here, and I'm just going to show you what this looks like. So I'm going to do share and scheduling link. I'm going to copy that link. You can see that we can copy a scheduling link, a permanent link. So scheduling link is a link that you would send to someone that has the exact slug of the calendar that's attached to it. So if you ever changed this slug and called it something different, then this link would no longer work. Whereas if you send someone a permanent link, then no matter what the calendar is called, it's still going to link to that calendar. And you can also send someone a one-time link. So if you just want to send it to them to book one appointment, but then have it not work the next time that they use that link, then you can send them a one-time link. And you can also get embedded code that would go onto a website. So I'll show you where we're going to use this a little bit later. But for now, I'm just going to use this scheduling link, copy that, open up a new page and paste that link. And this is what the calendar looks like. So you can see that it says men's haircut, 30-minute duration. And we've got all of the time slots that are available in 15-minute increments. And if we go to the next day, then you can see that it's available from 8 a.m. all the way to 4:30 is the last time slot available on there. And we can select who we want to have for this haircut. So if it's any available, then it's just going to assign it to whoever's next or available on that calendar. Or you can also select a specific staff member. So if I've gotten a haircut from Sarah before and I really liked the work that she did, then I can select Sarah, make sure that her time slots line up. So you can see here that her time slots now override what was available inside of the calendar. So she's only available today until 1:30. But if we go to the next day, then it's going to show all of the time slots that she has available. And these are different than what were assigned to the calendar itself. So it does matter who you choose. So if we went into Bryce, you can see Sarah only went till 1:30 tomorrow. If we go to Bryce, then now the availability is all the way until 4:30. So that's how that looks. And that's how you create the service-based calendar. And now we're going to go back and we're going to create a group for these calendars. So we're going to click on groups, and you can see that I've got my onboarding calendar group here, but we want to create a different group. So I'm just going to go ahead and come up here and create group. And for this group name, I'm going to do haircuts. And then the group description, again, you can put whatever you want here, but any type of haircut available. Book a haircut here. So haircuts is the group name, then group description, book a haircut here. Template, I'm just going to leave it as Neo. You could also select classic, but I'm just going to leave it as is. And then group URL, I'm just going to do pass go haircuts, and I'm going to create this group. So now I've got a group of haircuts, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into calendars. I'm going to create a new calendar, and it's going to be a service calendar as well. And if we name this women's haircut, and I'm not going to set up everything that we just did. I'm just going to show you how to set this up quickly and how these groups work. So select staff members. Everyone's going to be available for this. And actually, we'll just do it. Bryce and Sarah are available because they're the only ones that know how to do women's haircuts. So we're going to leave it as that. And we're going to do pass, go, women haircut. And service duration, we're going to make this one a little bit longer. So we're going to make this one 45 minutes. And then we're going to leave it as Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and accept payments. And the amount is going to be, let's just make it $75 because women's haircuts are outrageously expensive. So $75. Description is enter description that will be displayed, women's haircuts, and we're going to confirm. So that's the only amount of editing that I'm going to do to this calendar. If you wanted, you could go back in and set up all of the settings exactly how you want them. So now what we want to do, now we've got this men's haircut and this women's haircut created, is you can see if we go into groups, we still don't have any calendars selected in this haircuts group. So we're going to go back into the calendars, and in this men's haircut, we're going to edit, and then in group, I'm going to add it to haircuts, and I'm going to save that. And then we're going to do the same with the women's haircut. So we're going to close out of here, and then we're going to go into the women's haircut, and we're going to click these three dots, and edit, and then group haircuts. And we're going to save that, and we're going to close this. And now you can see that both the men's haircut and the women's haircut are now in this haircuts group. So the reason that this is important is because if we go into the website that we want to give to people to be able to book these appointments, so we're going to go into sites, and we're just going to do websites and demo website, and we're going to edit this page. So I'm going to get rid of all this stuff right here and this order form, and we're just going to start out by adding a full width section, and then we're going to add a row, one column, add element, and now we're going to select calendar, and we're going to bring this into there and select your calendar. So right here you can see that we've just got the options for a men's haircut. So we've got this men's haircut added, and then we're going to go ahead and add another element, and we've got a calendar that we're going to add right here, and I'm just going to do women's haircut. And so now we've got the women's haircut calendar right here. We've got the men's haircut calendar on this page. So if we save this and look at it, then this is how it looks when these are separate, and you would have two calendars on the page. It would be a little bit confusing. People wouldn't necessarily intuitively know how to go about this, but because we've created the group of haircuts, then what we can do instead is we can delete this calendar and delete this, and we're just going to add a new element, and we're going to click and drag calendar onto here. But instead of just selecting the calendars themselves, we're going to use group page. And so now when we select, we can do men's haircut, and now we've got the group page on here. And so if we save this, then it adds the entire group onto here. So when someone visits the website, this is what it looks like now. We've got haircuts that they can choose from. And you can see that we didn't add another element for the women's haircut. So I'll actually go back and add that really quickly just so that you can see that it makes a difference. So women's haircut, and we're just going to do images, and we're going to select this image and save image as, and then we're going to go back into our HighLevel account, go back, go into calendars, calendar settings, women's haircut. We're going to edit this and customizations, cover image, select image, and we're going to do the women's haircut. We're going to click save, exit out of here, and then we go back to this page, and we're going to refresh that page. And now you can see that we've got a women's haircut option and a men's haircut option. And instead of having two separate calendars, now you can just have the client who's booking the appointment select which service they want. And if they want a women's haircut, then they just select this box, and now it brings them to the staff that's available for that haircut. So you can see that I've got my headshot here. Sarah could add her headshot here. And now they can choose exactly which staff member they want to book an appointment with. And when they click that staff member, now it gives them the option to book on that calendar based on that user's availability. So if we went back and back again, then if we went into men's haircut, you can see that now they've got the option to choose from Bryce, Jake, or Sarah. And if they click into Jake, now it shows Jake's availability and all of the time slots that he has available. And as soon as someone books an appointment, then it's going to remove that time slot from his calendar automatically. So that's how the groups work. And that's why it's so important to use those groups, because it just makes it a better user experience for the customer as they go through and book appointments on these calendars. So then if we go back and go into calendar settings one more time, then you can see that we also have a service menu right next to group. So if we click on service menu, then pretty much what this is if you offer multiple different services within your business, then you can group the groups within this service menu. So what that means is you can create calendars. So for here, we've got women's haircut and men's haircut. And then in groups, we've got haircuts. But if you've also got hair colorings and hair bleaches and stylings, and I don't know all the things that go into haircuts because I just get a super simple haircut, but if you've got more services that are available than just haircuts, then you can create a service menu. And so much like the groups where you selected the men's haircut versus women's haircut, if you create a service menu, then you can have multiple groups. So you could create groups, and this group could be called hair coloring. And then group description, you could describe it, group URL, pass, go, hair coloring. And we're going to create this group. And so now we've got haircuts and hair coloring. And for the service menu, we can add a new service menu and service name, Pass Go Hair Services. And you could add a description here if you want. And we're just going to do Pass Go Hair Services. And then form, we're going to leave that as default. And we're going to leave all this as is, confirmation page, everything's good. Select services. So we've got haircuts as services. So select all, and that's got the haircuts, women's haircuts, men's haircuts. And we're going to go ahead and click save here. And I'm just going to create one more calendar so that you can easily see exactly what's going on here. So calendar, create service calendar. We're going to add Bryce and Jake to this, and then service name, hair coloring. And duration, we're just going to keep this super simple, and confirmation URL, hair coloring, pass go. And we're going to click confirm. Actually, we're going to go to advanced settings because we're going to add this to a group. So we're going to create group, and we're going to do hair coloring group and click save. And so now we've got this hair coloring calendar on the hair coloring group. And now when we go to service menu and we edit this Passgo hair services, then when we go to select services, now we've got hair coloring and haircuts that show up. And within haircuts, we've got the women's haircut, men's haircut. Within hair coloring, we have hair coloring. So we're going to select all as the services that we offer. And you can see you can select any of the services within any of the groups, and you can really set this up exactly how you want it to be set up, and then arrange your services. If you want the haircuts to be above hair coloring, and you can select if you've got a bunch of different services that you offer, then this could come into play in the order that you actually display these to the customers. So that's where you edit all of this, and we're going to click save. And so now we've got this service menu created with the multiple groups that we have created, with the calendars for each of those groups. And if we wanted to actually put this onto a website, then you would just come in here and you would copy embed code. And you could also just send someone the link to this calendar. So if we did copy scheduling link, then you could send this to the scheduling link. And now when someone gets this link, then they've got the options for haircuts or hair coloring. And this is where the displaying of the order comes in. So haircuts is first, then hair coloring. And for haircuts, we've got women's haircut, men's haircut. And then for hair coloring, we just have this option for hair coloring, and they can select if they want to book this, or book this. They can see the cost of it. And if we go ahead and book this appointment and guests, just me, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, however many people are going to show up, then if you wanted to, you could add even more services. So you could add more services to this menu, but we're just going to stick with the women's haircut right here. We're going to continue. It's going to be $75, and you're going to click confirm. And if you wanted to choose a staff member for this, then I'm going to go ahead and select Bryce and click confirm. And now it's going to bring me to the calendar to book that appointment. And as soon as I select a time and click continue, now it's going to bring me to the checkout page. We can see we've got this default form. So we've got where they enter their first name, last name, phone number, email, any additional information, confirm that they want to receive content from us, and then they put in their card information. They see that it's going to be $75. They can change the time here, but if they're good with all that and they put in their information and they schedule that appointment, it charges their card. And that's as easy as it is to create calendars in your account, groups for those calendars, and a broad service menu for all of the services that you offer. So that's this scheduling link that you could send people. But if you want this to be on an actual website that you've got and you don't want to have to send people the link every time, then what you would do is you would go here and copy embed code. And now we're going to go back and we're going to go into our sites and websites, and we're going to go into demo and edit this demo page. So the last time we just put the groups on there. Now what we can do is we could add an element and go into calendar again and then drag the calendar over here. And you can see that we've just got the use group page or select your calendars. So if we do the use group page, then it brings it to here, and we only have the groups of calendars that we have. But if we wanted to offer an entire service menu, then what you would do is add an element, and then you would scroll down here and you would just select code, and you drag the code element on here. You click on the code element, and then over here on the right hand side in the general portion, then you open code editor and you paste that embed code that we copied from the service menu. And now when we click click save, it's going to embed that service menu code on this website so that when we view this page, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these calendar groups so that it's not confusing. So all we've got is this embedded code from the service menu that we copied and pasted here. And now when we view this page, this is what it's going to look like. So we've got Pasco hair services, we've got haircuts or hair coloring that people can choose from, and then the women's haircut, the men's haircut. It looks the exact same as the link that we sent them, but that's how you embed it onto a website so that you don't have to send the link every time. It's available to anyone who visits that website. So that's it for creating the calendars and the groups and the service menu. Now we're going to go ahead and go back to the calendars, calendar settings, and you can see that we've also got rooms and equipments here. So for rooms, you could just create rooms and name that room A, total capacity, let's say it's 10 people. So now when you add this room to a calendar, and you can just select which calendar you want it to be on, and we've just got these 3 calendars that are showing up. So we're going to do men's haircut. This wouldn't make much sense. You could add it to multiple, but if you create a calendar specifically for booking rooms, then you would add that to that calendar, and now 10 people can book that room at a time. And we're going to create that, and then we're going to create room, and it's going to be room B, and description, you would describe it. Let's say that only holds 2 people. And then we're going to add that to men's haircut as well and create. And so those are both active in the men's haircut. And let's just go ahead and create some equipment really quickly as well. So equipment 1. So description, we're just going to leave it total quantity. This is how many you have. So let's say you've got 5 pieces of equipment. Out of service quantity, you can say that, let's say 2 of them are currently out of service, and we're going to add that to men's haircut as well. And we're going to create. So now that we've created the equipments and the rooms and associated them with the calendars, then anytime someone books an appointment on that calendar, then it's going to remove that total quantity from the equipments for however many people booked, or if it's for the rooms, then it's going to add those people to the rooms. So that's how you create rooms and equipments and then associate them with a calendar. And then when we come up here into preferences, you can see in-app preferences, week starts on Sunday, services, we've got the service menu, rooms, and equipments all showing here. We've got the widget preferences and what all of the preferences look like on the widget. We've also got availability. So this is a feature that's coming soon for overall account availability as opposed to just calendar availability and user availability. This is going to be an account availability preference. And then connections. If you want to be able to integrate your Stripe account or Google Ads or Google Bookings directly onto the calendars, you need to integrate Stripe with the calendar if you want to be able to collect payments, but you can also integrate Google Ads and organic booking direct from Google onto these calendars. And there is also a way to connect your personal calendars to these calendars if you want to be able to sync your personal calendar with the business calendar so that anything that you do on the personal side blocks off time on the business and vice versa. Then what you can do for that is you can go into your user account. So right now I'm signed into my agency account, which I know that because I've got this agency view. But if I actually go into my user account, so I just click up here on my profile picture or your initials if you haven't put a profile picture, and I'm going to do login as and Bryce at Pasco Systems, because that's the actual user that I created when we went through and created the staff members. This is the user account that you have created from that staff member. So I'm inside of my profile, I'm inside of the calendars tab, I'm inside of connections, and then I've got my connections. So I would just click connect next to this Google Calendar. And so now I've got my Google account linked to my HighLevel account so that anytime I've got bookings in my personal calendar that I want to block off that time, then it'll automatically be transferred into my HighLevel account so that I don't get double booked between personal life and business life. So now I've switched back to my agency account, but I'm still inside my Pasco Systems sub account. And the last thing that we're going to do here is set up some automation so that when someone books an appointment on the calendar that you select, it's going to send them an appointment confirmation email. It's going to send them appointment reminders, and it's finally, once the appointment is confirmed and showed up to, going to send them a review request through Google. So to do that, we're going to go into the automation tab, and inside the automation tab, we're just going to create a new workflow, and we're going to select a recipe. And from these recipes. These are pre-built automations that are ready to go for you so that you don't have to start from scratch. So we're just going to go down here to the bottom where it says recipe, appointment confirmation plus reminder. And we're going to select this recipe. And now we've got this pre-built automation that you can see has an appointment confirmation email, the 24-hour reminder email, the 1-hour reminder email and text, and 5-minute reminder email and text. So essentially what's happening is as soon as a customer books an appointment on the calendar that we're going to select. So for the workflow trigger, we're going to do appointment status, appointment, event type, normal, appointment status is confirmed. And we're going to do in calendar, and we're going to do this men's haircut calendar. So as soon as someone books an appointment in the men's haircut calendar, then we're going to run them through this workflow. And so just to stay organized, I'm going to do appointment, men's haircut confirmation, and then I'm going to save this trigger. And so now as soon as someone books an appointment on that men's haircut calendar, it's going to send them a confirmation email that says, hey, contact first name. So it'd be, hey, Bryce, your appointment has been confirmed for this start time at this start date in this time zone. Let us know if you have any questions. And all this information is ready to go. You may have to come in and do a little bit of editing to the Zoom meeting ID and change some of these things so that it fits your business. But the hard work is already done, and these contact first name custom values and appointment start date and appointment start time is automatically going to fill in the time that they select from that calendar. And then 24 hours before the appointment, they're going to get a reminder email. And then 1 hour before the appointment, they're going to get an email and a text. And you can see that all the stuff's already written. So, hey, just a reminder. Again, you need to fill in this Zoom meeting ID with your Zoom meeting ID. But then the text message is, hey, just a friendly reminder, appointment's about to start in 1 hour. Thanks. So everything's written for you. You just have to copy and paste this. And then if you wanted to, you could add a Google review request at the end of this. So if you wanted to do a wait function and wait for, let's just say, an hour to give you time to have the meeting. So 1 hour, and then save action. So you're waiting an hour, then send Google review. So send review request and review type. It'll just be a text message. So it'll be like, hey, fill out this Google review. And you set that up in the reputation tab of the software. But essentially, you just can add this if you want to send a Google review, but otherwise this automation is going to send a confirmation email along with appointment reminders so that people show up to the appointment, because most people, if they don't show up, they just forgot about the appointment. I know that I haven't showed up to appointments that have been online appointments because I just completely forgot about them. It wasn't like I had better things to do. I was just out on a walk for one of my tax appointments. And it's simply because I didn't receive confirmation reminders leading up to the appointment, so I just forgot about the appointment. So setting up this automation is going to increase the show up rate to appointments by just simply reminding the customer that they've got the appointment. And then after the appointment, it automatically sends them a review request so that you don't have to remember to do that every time. So once that's set up the way you want it, you would just click publish, and you would also come in here into settings and make sure to allow reentry so that if someone, for example, for this men's haircut, if they book an appointment on the calendar and then 6 weeks later they get another haircut, if you don't have this allow reentry turned on, then it's not going to send them through this workflow again. It's not going to send them the appointment confirmation. It's not going to send them the reminders. So you want to make sure that allow reentry is turned on. And inside this builder, this confirmation email, this is where in the actual calendar itself, so I'm just going to click out of here because I don't need to save that, but in the calendar itself, so if we go into calendars and calendar settings, in the men's haircut calendar edit, so when we did notifications and we didn't check on this contact to receive the notification email, that's because in that automation that we just set up, we send that confirmation email. So you don't have to do it here. So then once someone books an appointment on your calendar, then you can just come in here into the calendars tab, see all the appointments that you have on your calendar, and you'll also be able to see all of these appointments from the Lead Connector app that you have on the go anywhere you go from your mobile device. And then as the agency owner, I can see all of the different calendars for all of the different users that I have. But if you just wanted to give someone access to their calendar, then you could change that in your settings. So I can look at this by users that I've got, and I can see different people's schedules and what time slots they still have available, and any bookings that they have. Then I can also look at different calendars. I can look at groups. So all of this is available straight from the calendars tab inside of your HighLevel account. So there you have it. In this video, we went through all of the different types of calendars. And again, I'm going to just show you, we went through service calendar mainly, but then we also have the simple calendar, the round robin, which just assigns it to people on your team in order. We've got the class booking. So if we actually went through and selected that, you can see that the meeting duration we still have, but then seats per class you can choose. So if you've only got 20 slots available in a yoga class, then that seats per class is different on this type of calendar, and we didn't have this available in the service-based calendar. So there's just a few minor differences between these types of calendars, but overall the process of creating these calendars is the same, and then creating the groups, and then creating the service menu if you're creating service calendars. If you liked this video on how to create calendars inside of HighLevel, and you want to learn how to build beautiful functional websites so that you've got a place to put those calendars where people can book appointments directly on your calendar online, then check out this video right here. And if you're looking to start your own SaaS agency with HighLevel, then make sure to grab my SaaS Agency Secrets course below this video. It's a completely free course that I give away to anyone, whether or not you're my affiliate. But if you do sign up as my affiliate, then you get a 30-day free trial of the software, along with 2 other courses that I give to you for free, as well as a SaaS agency snapshot and weekly coaching calls with me and my other affiliates, as well as 24/7 access to me directly to help you master this software as quickly as possible and start landing clients of your own. That's thousands of dollars of free resources that you get just for using that link. It's no extra cost to you. It just helps me support you as you get going with creating your agency. So click that link below, get signed up as my affiliate, and I'll see you in the next video.